You've asked me about my issue of getting corporate political contributions out of politics. And the idea comes from my days last summer and fall with Occupy St. Louis. I first went down out of curiosity, then I began to like what they were standing for, even though no one could figure out exactly what they were standing for. I liked where their heart was. Their basic principle is 1% of the country with money has too much power, which means not enough left over for the other 99%. And some of the commentators have said it's not 1%, it's 0.1% who really have that. But it occurred to me that the main way that those with all the money express their undue influence is with corporate contributions. And it's a long story that I'm not an expert at, but in a nutshell, the federal government and states were trying to limit corporate contributions, and then the Citizens United case came and said that corporations are people for the purposes of the First Amendment, and they can spend whatever they want on an independent campaign. You can still limit their contributions to a candidate, but not on their own campaign. So as we saw during the recent presidential race, they're basically running the ads for the campaign. And so the question becomes how you get that money out. Now, Citizens United, I'm a lawyer. The Supreme Court, you can second guess it all you want. They're still the final judge. I think eventually the case will be overturned. Just like Brown versus Board of Education overturned Plessy versus Ferguson of separate but equal, and other cases that the court has changed over the years. I've thought for a long time that the way to get the only way to get large contributions out of politics, because there's so many First Amendment considerations or limitations to what you can do with respect to money as speech, contributing to a cause or to somebody speaking. And I love the First Amendment. It should be all of our favorite amendment. But corporations shouldn't run the country. Big money shouldn't run the country. They should get a fair say, but not a disproportionate say. So what we need to change the game is a constitutional amendment to prohibit corporate contributions to first federal and then state campaigns. That's a game changer. And it overrides all the court decisions or whatever's in the Constitution now. It would specifically say, and there's petitions online, corporations shall be prohibited from contributing money to federal political campaigns, and individual contributions are limited to 100 or 200 or whatever limit you want to make. And as I was visiting with Occupy, and there's two ways to change the Constitution. Congress can propose a constitutional amendment. I don't think they're going to do it. I hate to say they're bought and paid for, but at least some of them are, and Republicans, they're all over the place. They're breeding like rabbits in Congress. And it may change this year, may not, but there's not enough votes there. And I like to think, I do think there's good people on both sides. I think there's more good people at the moment on the Democratic side. That's why I'm a Democrat. I don't think they're going to propose this anytime soon. The other way to change the Constitution is for 2/3 of the states to call for a constitutional convention to propose an amendment to the federal Constitution. And then whatever they decide goes back to the states for approval, and you eventually have to get, I think it's 2/3 of the states, maybe 3/4, to approve that. So we have Occupy movements in a majority of the states, at least 30, and they need an issue to coalesce around. They're all over the board. They're against stuff. There's not much stuff they're for. And it's like a miracle they haven't disappeared yet. But we feel strongly that they're on the right path. They just don't know what to do with it. So my idea would be to organize, and as the Lieutenant Governor I can start it here in Missouri, a petition drive statewide and nationwide to call for a constitutional convention to propose an amendment to the federal Constitution prohibiting corporate contributions. And there's a lot of ways to do that using the Occupy movements in the different states. If it's a good idea, it'll spread. So I'm going to start it here in Missouri. I'll work with Occupy and other groups, and it should catch on. There's online petitions, but you need feet on the ground. And that'd be a big deal. I'd do that. I could get a second term. So that's going to be a real priority for me.